hours of televised wrestling, your comments getting on screen with us. If you're with us in the podcast feed, hit us up on the Twitter at WrestleZone.com. I am Kev Kelm. This is your post-show, your WrestleZone wrap-up for Monday Night Raw on this, the 9th of November. What a different world we're in. We have so many things going on in the real world that could affect wrestling. That's right. We have some very, very good news to discuss on tonight's show, and we'll get into more of that in the future. What did you think of Monday Night Raw? If you are with us live, get your comments on screen. Give us the 1 to 10 on this week's Monday Night Raw. Randy Orton is unhinged, and we have someone else to talk about it, not just me, all right? He is not Clark Kent. He is John Clark. John Clark, Central PA. John, you got to have a tense couple of days over there in Pennsylvania for last few days. It's been pretty wild for you guys, to say the least, with the presidential election, right?
It's not over yet with the craziness over here.
It's not over yet, but hey, it's definitely, you can't say it's not boring, right? So now, was tonight's Raw boring? That is something to get into. We have some people giving it an 8. We have some people giving it a 3. Jimmy Gotzi giving it a 6. So if you were with us live or you're watching on demand on Facebook, YouTube, or listening on the podcast feed, go ahead and let us know what you guys think. We want to have the most interactive show. So also help us out. We got to defeat these algorithms. You know, these algorithms, they're the goon squad that we got to take on. They're the retribution that we don't want running down to ringside when we're doing the podcast thing. So the way you guys do that is you share the link, you pass it on, you also hit the like button a lot. That helps us break up the algorithms as well. So if you're seeing this, like, we'll see those hearts pop up during the show, all that good stuff. So let's get into tonight's Monday Night Raw. They did a lot of significant things, yet the show didn't feel super interesting until the third hour. And then they really went out to pasture with some great stuff that I thought was great in the third hour of Monday Night Raw. Main event was a 6-man tag team match with Drew McIntyre, who's been clacking horns with Randy Orton, the man who took the belt from him at the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. He tagged with The New Day, the reigning Raw Tag Team Champions, against Randy Orton, Mr. Money in the Bank, currently holding a briefcase, The Miz, who's looming all over this, Randy Orton, the WWE Champion, and Morrison. This was a solid 6-man main event. I didn't think this was great. They teased some stuff with Miz. He's constantly saying he's going to do something. He's going to have a very opportunistic opportunity. That's so stupid. He's going to be very opportunistic with the briefcase here. And they kind of even did that at the beginning of the show. They got right into it, didn't drag it on. Very quick opening segment. 6-man was set up. I was on board. Solid opening to Raw, solid ending to Raw. He claymored the heck out of Morrison when Randy Orton scampered off. Right before that main event, Randy Orton is told by Adam Pearce backstage, the WWE official, that he's going to have to defend the WWE Championship next week on Monday Night Raw against Drew McIntyre. So we're getting this 6-man match to build up to a free televised pay-per-view main event that we've seen already, but I'm also like, hey, that's pretty cool. You know, they're trying to give you a big match on TV that maybe you should make appointment viewing for. So good on WWE. What'd you think of this big angle here to start and end the show?
I thought it was pretty good. I like the way that they're doing this match on TV. I mean, it's kind of drawn out as far as pay-per-view goes. We've had 3 now, so I think having it be on TV is kind of good. Maybe an attempt to get some ratings going. It can't hurt.
It can't hurt at all. Can't hurt at all, man. Definitely some people chiming in here. Charles Cox saying, hey, John, we got some new people with us here as well. Want to see what you guys are thinking. Go ahead and keep continuing. Laura Rock saying the show, it was good. Stephen Chambers saying, poor Lana. 8 weeks in a row. She got put through a table. I think this is 7. This is 8 times. They've done it 7.
This is 8, yeah.
This is 8. And of course, a couple of new people here. People say, did it end late? Did they go past 10 p.m.? I think they went a little bit past 10 p.m. tonight.
It ended right at 11, like 11 o'clock.
Okay. All right. So there you go. And so definitely get into the mix. If you're with us for the first time, go ahead and comment. We want to see those new people get on screen with us as well. Get in the mix here as well. Some other people with different comments here. Randy Orton holds the title for a big event and drops it to the returning John Cena. I don't see John Cena coming back anytime soon, guys. That is not something that's going to happen here. But what do you think of Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and you have Miz looming in the background with the briefcase? This could be some entertaining television. Something makes me think they would have Miz cash in on TV.
Yeah, I mean, I would see it happening, but I don't see it happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think Orton's going to be the guy for a while, and he would at least have it for quite some time. Maybe maybe we get another situation where we get a cash in at, say, WrestleMania, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they pull the trigger on that right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It certainly makes next week's Raw interesting. I'll say this: at least they're trying to give you something that's bigger than just another Raw, And there was a lot of the show that felt like just another Raw, and it was just another week of TV. And let's get these people out here in this segment and do this. And there were several segments on the show that were they were trying, but it wasn't exciting. It's stuff we've seen before. It was kind of predictable, and some matches were flat out clunky tonight. Other matches were absolutely fantastic. There was a match that I think no one expected to steal the show, and it really did. I think you could look at wrestling Twitter, you could look at hashtag WWE Raw, and there was one match tonight that people were like very impressed with and felt like it really did an upgrade to everyone involved. You're shaking your head, and I'm going to get to what that match is here in a minute. And it is going to be a match, features a leader of a faction a lot of people have been ripping on. You're covering your face. I love this
I
match.
was afraid that was the one you were talking about.
All right, so we'll get into that in just a second, so don't go anywhere if you're with us right now. People also bring up the tag title match next week. That'll be Miz and Morrison versus the New Day, am I correct? Or is there someone else there?
No, this is going to be the Hurt Business against
the Hurt
New
Business.
Day.
Yes. Okay. I was messing that up here. We had plenty of title changes tonight's Raw, if you want to be technical about it. They did a bunch of goofy stuff with. We don't follow the show segment by segment. We kind of settle on different big things on the show. But if there's something on there you guys want to talk about, just fire it off. We had several title matches within a match with a 7-way 24/7 championship match with R-Truth, who won it earlier in the night. Drew Gulak was trying to join the Hurt Business with a clip-on tie. They beat him up, and R-Truth got the belt. I thought that was funny. I thought it was a genuinely funny thing. You can't join the Hurt Business and not have a pocket square. They turn around, he put it in a pocket square. You have a clip-on tie? All right, we're going to beat you up. Don't you know we're the stylish men of WWE? I thought that was entertaining. And later on in the night, R-Truth gets into it with Eric, Tucker, the Lucha House Party, a bunch of guys from the lower end of WWE, and the title changes 10 times. What do you think of the 24/7 championship? This is pretty goofy.
It was entertaining to say the least, but that's about as far as I would take it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say they're boring segments. I think they definitely try and do something that's
I
just.
thought the best part was
Mhm.
the Mike Rome kept going. Winner,
yeah,
and
Mike
new
Rome.
champion.
Mike Rome got a
Winner
lot of work
and new
tonight.
champion.
Yeah, ring announcer Mike Rome got a lot of work tonight. And no, and then he would like cut himself off, and then you have to. And no, like there was one segment where they were tied in a small package. Tucker and Drew Gulak were tied in a small packet, and they literally would just turn their shoulders and then just turn their shoulders through three and then turn their shoulders through three. There were some fun, entertaining things. I can see this popping the boys in one way or another. I enjoyed it. I mean, how many times has R-Truth had the 24/7 title?
44.
44 times?
Yep.
So, yeah, and there was 10 title changes tonight, if you want to say title changes. We did have another match. I thought this was just awful. They started. It was a 360. We had Hurt Business in the ring, Bobby Lashley and MVP, and Bobby's in there ready to go. And Titus O'Neil comes out, and Titus O'Neil had been beaten up by the Hurt Business weeks ago, and he wanted to join them. And he insulted him. He said, "You know what? I'm going to step up. I want a shot at you guys. You can't disrespect me like that." And MVP says, "You know, I'm going to give you a match because you do charitable work, but I'll let you leave the ring if you want. Like, you do some great charity work, so you can leave the ring if you want." This was not good. This was a short, weird match. They were brawling. It was kind of scrappy. You liked it. I didn't. He barely got the full Nelson on to tap him out. Titus O'Neil, it went from like, I was really excited because Titus O'Neil had a reason to do this. But the match was like 90 seconds. You're wiping me off. What do you got, John Clark?
No,
what are you signaling?
I'm doing the Titus.
Okay,
He needs that chip, man.
Yeah,
Titus O'Neil finally getting his TV time. I thought it was great.
It was great, but I mean, like, the match was 3 minutes, right?
The match was terrible, but Titus coming out, showing aggression on the mic, getting in Lashley's face, then Lashley come back saying, you know, I don't care what you do for the kids, you know, and I just thought it was a good all-around segment, and the match wasn't good, but hey, the segment was.
Okay, I could take that. It did have logic to it. William T.
Titus got some hits in, too.
He got some hits, but it was just kind of like clunky. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't smooth. And in comparison to what I thought was the best match of the night, it wasn't that great. We can talk about that. Let's get into that match. Later in the night, we knew it was pitched. We knew we were going to get Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali, the leader of Retribution. They cut a promo earlier in the night. Ricochet saying, Ali saying to Ricochet in the camera, I have to understand that you're just a part of the problem. We're going to solve it. And you could have been with us, but you insulted these men. You insulted T-Bar and Slapjack and Mace and Reckoning. Reckoning alluding to something with Asuka, but they didn't have any physical interaction. Later on the night, this match, I thought, stole the show. 2 segments over a commercial break. A spinning splash by Ricochet out of the ring into the crowd and a crowd of Retribution here. I loved it. I thought that was great. I thought that was compelling. The chokeout finish, kind of like an octopus hold, if you will, that Ali now has to force opponents into submission, or at least in this case, Ricochet didn't tap out. He got choked out, so he didn't look completely bad. And there was outside interference. This was really compelling. Ricochet showed off almost a video game highlight reel of moves in this match. I loved it. Uriel says, I can't believe WWE released Tony Chimmel. I'm going to miss his intros. Yes, Tony Chimmel, unfortunately released by WWE early the last week, Friday. We have that newsflash video up as well if you want to hear more details about it. I love this match. You didn't seem to enjoy Ali versus Ricochet.
I did not.
Why? Come on, man. You like Wait, are you telling me you liked Titus? You liked Titus versus Bobby Lashley. All right.
I liked the
match.
segment. I liked the segment, not the match.
Yeah.
Ricochet just isn't cutting it for me right now. To me, he's a jobber.
Oh,
now he wasn't before, but now he's a jobber.
Oh, come on.
What happened in this match? What was the outcome? Tell me what the outcome was.
Which match are we talking about here?
Ricochet and Ali.
Well, it was Ali winning, and Retribution got their big win. They needed a win.
Okay. Ricochet is a jobber. He is basically crazy to me. How he came on the record a couple months ago and said, I love being here. I want to be here. This is the place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, they're not treating him fairly. And I'm not saying whether, that's good or bad. I mean, obviously, they should be treating him a little better. What I'm saying is, personally, I just don't really think, ever since that match with Lesnar for the title, he has went down on my favorite list. And I'm not saying the match was bad, because the match was good. I'm saying that Ricochet generally seems to get almost too much credit in my mind.
Oh, you're saying Ali? He's just overrated.
Yeah,
you're thinking he's overrated.
Yes.
All right. Sean Smith saying Ricochet is jobber to the stars
because he is. Right now he is. You can't argue
why is being in competitive matches and you lose?
He has no friends left.
Okay. He doesn't have any friends left. That's right. Cedric Alexander left him for the Hurt Business.
And Apollo left too.
And Apollo left.
And Ali left.
Mm-hmm. They all left. Ali's on the other team, beating him up now. Everyone he's friends with leaves him. Yeah. People saying Herman saying he'll leave for Impact or AEW. No, he's
already said he wants to stay in WWE.
Yeah, he's already said he's going to stay with WWE. So he's already kind of made that clear. We don't know what his contract status is at the moment, when his deal is up or how long his current deal is at the time. So leave that speculation on the side. Yeah, I love it, but I love this match. I enjoyed a match on Monday Night Raw. I enjoyed a storyline that I didn't care that much about. This match wrestled me into the storyline. It made Retribution look dangerous. They were looming around the ring, but they didn't interfere too much. So when they did influence the action, it didn't take away from the match. It elevated it, not just like a dusty finish. So they let it actually happen in the ring. And Ali needed this win. This is a guy who was running away from Hurt Business a few weeks ago. That team needs to look stronger. And if it's just them versus Ricochet, and this is how Ricochet can be a superhero and come back and fight back through all these things, I'm on board. You know what I mean? If they get an undercard match on Survivor Series, or they do something with these two guys against each other in like a lumberjack situation or something like that, I'm into it. Like, I'm more into Ricochet versus Ali than I was 7 days ago, because this match elevated both guys. And it wasn't like, also, by the way, Ricochet didn't job out. He almost won this match several times. So it was very competitive, and there was some interference at the end, just enough. It wasn't like a complete squash interference. I liked it. I dug it. And Ali needed the win. Retribution needed to look strong. This is their first big win. This is their first win as a faction in a singles match. I know. What are we talking about? A comment here? Which one we got here?
James
Espanto. James Espanto. Fernando. Says, if John says he's a jobber, then you can guarantee that Ricochet is a jobber. Have you taken out the jobber stamp? You just stamped jobber on the phone?
I'm almost to that point. If he has a match for the 24/7 championship, we're stamping it.
Oh, you're ridiculous. Let's talk about let's get into Survivor Series. Okay? The Survivor Series teams had several different multiple segments with these teams and multiple matches. And none of the teams on Raw, on the men's team from Monday Night Raw, going up against Team SmackDown at Survivor Series on the November 22nd, and the women's team, none of these teams are getting along. None of them. So what we got here was AJ trying to captain the team that he will lead. That features Matt Riddle, who won a match earlier in the night. Fine little triple threat match with Hardy and Elias. Nothing super fantastic, but just perfect. So you saw Riddle twice, no longer Matt Riddle. You saw him twice, and then he did this segment in the ring where he gave them all nicknames.
Even though his jacket still says M Riddle, and the WWE Twitter account posted a graphic that said Matt Riddle after he won.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, dude? It's weird stuff there.
He's dopey. He's dopey.
He called himself dopey. He called everyone and then he laughed about it, because he likes weed, right? And it was all right. It was fine. It wasn't like the worst joke I've ever seen WWE tell. But this broke into AJ saying, you guys are going to respect each other if you have a tag team match. So Keith Lee and Riddle, you're going to take on Braun Strowman and Sheamus.
They get along.
Sheamus,
don't forget, they get along. Those two get along at least.
Yeah, Keith Lee and Riddle do get along. And so you get this tag team match. I thought this was a fun, competitive tag team match. Sheamus loves to hit people really, really hard. And Matt Riddle apparently likes to get hit very, very hard. And but Sheamus doesn't want to get along with anybody at the moment. He wanted Drew McIntyre to join this team. Drew's too busy. They did a segment later on in the night. He booted Braun Strowman off the apron. That broke it into a fracas. And Riddle and Keith Lee get the win here. So this is a pretty big win for them. And this build to Survivor Series gets even weirder with the women's team. They didn't get along. Multiple segments to them. We had Lana versus Shayna Basler with it breaking down, and they teased it earlier in the night, but Lana got away from it.
We thought she was finally going to escape it.
We thought she was finally going to escape. They did that earlier in the night. She got out of it after the singles match. The 8 weeks they've been doing this, where at some point in these multi-person matches, Nia Jax grabs Lana and they put her through a table. So they got away from it. Later on in the night, more action, more fighting. Nia Jax versus Asuka. Fine match, but it's really just a setup for Lana and Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke at ringside to get into a multi-person fracas with Nia Jax and Shayna. They're a team, but they don't get along. And Lana gets put through the table. What is the build here? I mean, I get it, but I know they can't. Why don't you just have the brands interact? Why don't you do this? I don't get it.
Here's where it's going to. Let me explain. For the women's match, do you have any prediction or idea of how this match is going to end? Because I can tell you right now. Look. This is going to be my 4 out of 4 for big predictions on here. But okay. I want to see if you call it before I do. How do you think this women's Survivor Series match is going to go?
Well, Lana's got to go through a table. That's kind of a given.
Well, I think Lana is the last one standing in the end.
Oh, she's the sole survivor?
Well, at least for Team Raw. I can see it clear as day that's what's coming.
Fans signing off saying the women's segments were on Raw were terrible. Some people saying too many egos. Not enjoying that.
Look, put up the comment here by Herman. The last one we got here. Yep.
Only Miro could save Lana by not talking about WWE. So you're saying are you still on the side of people because Lana is married to Miro now in AEW?
Herman is spot on.
Okay, I'm just laying that theory out there for people listening who don't know.
Well, it was. I think originally it was, but now they're just running with it. Rusev is not involved with this now. But the first couple of weeks, it was definitely his fault.
All right, so Rusev jumped over to AEW. after being released by WWE. Big jump there, right? And Lana's still with WWE. She signed a long-term deal.
3-year deal last July.
Yeah, like last July. She signed it recently. All right, and apparently she got paid pretty well on that. So they want to lock her in on that. And now she's just getting laid out. And here's the thing with Lana. I think she's a great character. I don't think anyone would call her the best wrestler in WWE. But in this match with Shayna Basler, I thought she sold her ass off. She made Shayna look like a monster. She gets put through the table.
She's came a long way since her wedding last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always thought that she was a great character. And WWE needs those characters that come off the screen, and she does. But you know, she's getting squashed every week. Nia Jax looks like a monster. All right, we've done it. So where does the turn come? If they can do something at Survivor Series that makes this table smashing thing every week flip on its head, or the tables turn, then I'm interested. You know, if you can make something on Lana in this whole thing, people say, well, Lana will end up as the GOAT. She'll end up as the greatest of all time.
WrestleZone's own Tyler Treese says that Lana will be put through a table every Monday until WrestleMania.
Oh man, that'd be crazy. Asuka, Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks. Yes, that will be on the card. Well, that's the thing with Survivor Series, and I've been saying this now, is it just feels like everything on the show is kind of slotted, and everything else is just kind of like a holding pattern for so many people. You know, I mean, it's like 20 talents. Raw, the Raw men's team, the Raw, like the two different Survivor Series 5-on-5 elimination matches. One for the men, one for the women, Raw versus SmackDown. That's 20 talents that I feel like that are just in this holding pattern. What are the stakes? What do you win? What do you get out of Survivor Series? If you tell me it's brand supremacy, it doesn't matter. I don't think people care about team captains either. Why would I care so much about who the team captain is? It's like all this like stuff that is like silly that doesn't have any calories to it. You know what I mean? It feels like cotton candy. It looks cool, but once you bite into it, it's like, I'm done with this. You know, like after like a little bit. And Survivor Series could be a more compelling show. They've done Survivor Series matches where the winners get something or the losers don't get something. I want to see that. I would love to see something added there.
It should be like the well, it's all like, you know how they do the Royal Rumble where it's like whoever wins the Royal Rumble, if they get the main event at WrestleMania or whatever.
Yeah.
They should do something where like, well, if your team wins Survivor Series, then you get the main event of like, say, SummerSlam or something. Just something simple like that.
You all get title opportunities, or you get you get to fight anyone you want in any match, not for a title or something. Something. Give me something. You know? I don't know. It'd be interesting here. People saying NXT Invasion at Survivor Series. No, we got that last year. I don't think that's going to happen this year. And so definitely people still commenting about Lana. They say she needs new ring music. People saying the only one calling Lana a great wrestler is her husband. And a few people, I can't use that word. Jay Feliciano says, agree with John. Jay texting and says, agrees with John. Lana gets the big face payoff as the winner of the match. I do think that is how things
she definitely does.
Continue to chime in on this week's Monday Night Raw. Those are the big things on Monday Night Raw. Anything else you want to touch on? Those are the things I felt like I really had to touch on. There was a lot on the show that felt like it was just too long, too much middling stuff. The third hour really kicked ass. I loved the 6-man main event. I loved Ali versus Ricochet. But there was not a lot that I felt was fantastic beyond that. Some stuff that was okay, you know. But, I mean, Titus O'Neil and Bobby Lashley was a real letdown.
The only other thing I would mention on the show that might be worth noting is that Alexa Bliss officially chose Bray Wyatt over Nikki Cross tonight when Nikki Cross says, you need to pick me or Bray.
Yeah, no Bray Wyatt tonight. No Fiend tonight, which was interesting.
But we did get the puppets in backstage segments throughout various backgrounds. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, the Raw overall was it was average.
Bob Coaster texting in saying, the winning team at Survivor Series should get a pizza party. I completely support this. With the amount of pizza ads that are on Monday Night Raw, you have Papa John's. There was Little Caesars ads. There was Pizza Hut ads. They should do that. One of the teams should be sponsored by a pizza.
No, because this time of the year is when their shows are sponsored by Kentucky Fried Chicken. So they should get a chicken party.
a chicken fried party. Did they do that one time where they like slammed somebody through like a table?
Yeah, everybody was dressing up as Colonel Sanders every week.
Yeah, that stuff started the Fast Food Royal Rumble.
This is that time of the year in December. Usually, Hell in a Cell pay-per-view is sponsored by KFC.
Yeah, it's a decent point here. And people saying this show is better than Raw was. Wow, people are really coming down on Raw. Terrell texting in.
Wait.
He said our show. He's saying our show was better.
Oh, okay.
Terrell texting in here. Thank you so much, Terrell. Always love you texting in. Says, do you think WWE SmackDown will invade Raw next week before Survivor Series? Will we have the brands interact at all before Survivor Series? I would hope they do something like that.
I don't think.
You don't think they need to do it?
I don't think they will. Is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Other people thinking Eva Marie, who's reportedly back with WWE in some way, will return at Survivor Series in some role. So that would be interesting. All right, so let's get into it. Dude. Monday at Raw 1. All right, 1 being we gotta wait weeks and weeks and weeks for election results. 10 being we just know what it is. Okay, so let's give me the 10. The 1 to 10. What did you think about it, Raw? I'm gonna give this show a solid 6.5. Solid 6.5. There was a lot of like soft stuff in the first hour and a half of the show. But the show really, if you want to seek out one great match, go watch Ricochet versus Mustafa Ali. I loved it. Makes me interested in what these guys are going to do next. Made me compelled in the characters. Made Retribution feel dangerous. I loved it. That was a match of the night. And for me right now, that's the match anyone has to beat the rest of the week.
6.5.
6.5. So you and I are right there in the middle of it, man. We're right there on top of it. So definitely get ready to fire off your questions. Want to touch on some other stories that we have here at WrestleZone.com coming in today. Tomorrow, we are going to learn about the AEW video game. AEW Full Gear was this past Saturday on pay-per-view. We have a post-show of that. If you haven't listened to it, you want some more wrestling audio. We also have post-show media calls with AEW World Champion Jon Moxley, AEW President Tony Khan, and the new AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks, as well as NWA Women's Champion Serena Deeb. So you can go listen to those on our podcast feed, also on our video channels on Facebook and YouTube. Go check those out. Our post-show was really, really fun. I think I did 70 minutes with the D'Angelo brothers, and you can check out their Dynamite Focus show on our feeds as well on Friday nights. This was a very fun pay-per-view, but this video game, I think, is the thing that people are still simmering about, a new wrestling video game. And what we heard from Tony Khan in this call, he didn't reveal too much, but he did say that this would be a console game. So you are going to get this on consoles.
I put up that article yesterday.
And that they are going to do a mobile game of some kind and a text-based mobile game. So the text-based mobile game leads a lot of people to believe that you're going to get like a simulator game, kind of similar to what we've seen. There's a lot of like creative games made by fans that you can get online. There's no visual graphics with it, but it's just like you book a territory and it simulates based on what you choose. It's kind of like you choose your own adventure, but you're booking wrestling shows. I've heard from people really, really enjoy these. I've played them a little bit. They're fine. You know, they're not like long plays for me, but I could see people getting lost in it. You have to be a very particular type of fan to get lost in those games. I think the main one that people are interested in is this console game. Who's going to be producing it? What is the level of graphics on this? Are they going to go for something like a Fire Pro Wrestling, like an 8-bit throwback game? Is that going to be what they do on mobile? Are they going to have 3 different
simulation?
Or are we going to have a flat-out simulation a la what's been going on with WWE 2K and SmackDown versus Raw from back in the day? I think we get a little, because this is what AEW is all about. They try to do a lot all at one time and then see what works and stick to that. I think they're going to do a text-based game that you can get, maybe free. Like they're going to do a free game that you can get, and that would be the text one. They'll do a mobile game that maybe has a freemium version to it and has small graphics like what WWE Supercard is like. And, you know, has freemiums and you pay into it. And then I think they're going to say you're going to get a console game. Now, the console game, as I mentioned, is the big one that I think they're really going to focus on. And these small free games are going to build up a gaming community because there's a lot of people, you know this, that don't watch WWE, but will get a WWE game and love those games. So I think that's what AEW is going to try and do here is do these other small games to get the brand within gaming, right? And then, all right, now we're going for it. At this point, sometime in 2021, you're getting our game on this console. I also think the timing is interesting because we're getting the new PS5 and the Xbox Series X around this time. So you think, is it smart for them to make this announcement now and then say the game is coming at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I still think that they're going to need to release this also on like PlayStation 4 and not just PlayStation 5 because you're going to have so many gamers that aren't necessarily upgrading right now. We're in that period of time where most new games are going to come out on both current gen and what will be next gen, but it will now be current gen as of this week. But you get my point. And I think if they go the simulation route, they will have more success than the arcade route. And the reason I say that is because Battlegrounds and WWE All Stars were more well received than the simulation, yet sales were drastically lower than the simulation because
people know the game every year. Yeah.
People want realism, they want simulation, they want their customized shows to look close to real as possible.
Other big, sad, unfortunate wrestling news. I covered this earlier today in the news flash. Paige and her rock star boyfriend, Ronnie Radke, had a very physical confrontation with a stalker. And Ronnie Radke had to actually kind of physically hold this guy down until the police came. Of another very scary situation involving a stalker who apparently had a lot of mental health issues, mentioning that he was led to them by symbols. And this is scary. We had this situation with Sonya Deville earlier this year. That one was very, very scary, like a home invasion and weapons and all these different things. It's just, this is the dark side of entertainment, isn't it? Where people can just lose themselves with mental health problems and then idolize these people and become a terror to them.
Yeah, it's troublesome to me how accessible it apparently is to figure out where exactly they live. Obviously, he wasn't just led there. He knew where he was going. And
I mean, the person's not well if they're doing something like this.
Correct. And I think that generally, the superstars need to be more aware of, that this stuff can happen now that it's happened twice. I feel like sometimes they kind of take it for granted and think, this won't happen to me because words matter, and a lot of the times these superstars just so willingly get on Twitter and just tell off their fans, like, who are you to tell me? And sometimes that does trigger them to do stuff like this.
True. We'll get into your questions if you're with us live. Go ahead and fire those off. We'll jump right into them in just a little bit. Other stories we are following at WrestleZone.com is an exclusive interview. Trevor Murdoch, he is the NWA national champion. The NWA is still going. You're seeing them on AEW. And people interested in their future, they still have that primetime stream they're doing every week as well. Trevor Murdoch spent plenty of time in WWE, kind of fell out of wrestling, and then came back with the NWA Power Series pre-pandemic. The interview with him, very interesting. He kind of talks about how wrestlers have adapted to COVID and how smaller shows can adapt as well, and how if you're a hardworking wrestler, you can be successful in these circumstances if you make the right decisions. Very interesting. A guy who has experience saying that as well. So that's where things currently stand. WrestleZone.com. Plenty of stuff for you guys to dive into. The podcast feed is filled with content right now, so definitely go and subscribe.
We need to give these guys a special preview of what's coming this Wednesday.
What do we got this Wednesday?
And this is going to be a very, very rare occurrence that you're going to want to see Wednesday, because Kevin will be watching NXT this Wednesday.
Yes.
And I, unfortunately, will be watching a different show on Wednesday night.
What show are you going to be watching, John?
Dynamite. Tune in for my immediate, right after the show thoughts, right here, because this is going to be the first place that I voice my opinion.
So John joins me on our Monday Night Raw post shows and our Wednesday night post show, in which we cover NXT and AEW. It is very difficult to watch both shows at the same time. I know people that do it, but I don't think you get a full grasp of what the show is. So we've always decided, like, hey, one of us watches this, the other one watches that, and we kind of have a better idea of it. Now, I'll follow what's going on with NXT when I'm on AEW duty, and I'll even still watch it later on because I got to know what's going on with them. But this is, and I enjoy both shows. I generally enjoy them. But we've always joked that John has a very activated bias, that he just loves NXT. He wants his spirit inside the Capitol Wrestling Center. But now I'm taking that soul and I'm flinging it into the Daily Center, and he has to go there virtually and enjoy the show. And you will enjoy it. I think you will have fun, whether or not you like it. You'll have fun, John. That pause says so much.
I'm gonna give it a go.
That pause says so much. Yeah. Other people with different takes here. Alyssa Stansberry. Thank you for joining us, Alyssa. I haven't seen you in a while. Alyssa says, Peyton Stan single. What is she saying? Entitled shot, or rumor or true? I don't know exactly what you wrote there. Do you know what this is about?
Yeah, she was asking above. There was rumors that Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans were not getting along, working as a team, and she was asking if those were true. I haven't heard anything that says anything about that, so I can't really comment on that.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything to lead us into that.
And then this specific comment here, she's asking if Peyton Royce is going to be getting a championship opportunity soon, which I also have not heard that either.
Other people texting in here different questions. Any update on Jake Roberts' breathing issues? Jake Roberts recently was revealing in a podcast interview.
I got that up yesterday too.
That he has very serious respiratory problems. And
he blames it on himself. He does not shy away from saying that he knows it's his own fault.
And he came onto these issues right around the same time that Lance Archer was tested positive for COVID-19 just about a month and a half ago. So his concern immediately was that he had COVID, and he has it at an older age, so he's worried about that. Jake's no longer a physical performer in wrestling. He's simply going to use his talking ability. I got to open up for Jake on his spoken word comedy shows. Great mind, wonderful guy. I think he's in a completely different headspace, much, much healthier, but still deals with all those different health problems he's created for himself. DDP yoga and all those different things. But one of them would be smoking. He's still a tobacco smoker, and he says it's very, very stupid, and that has caught up with him now. Smoking that long in life, it has proven to wear down your lungs. It's a very common thing, and that is where he is. He has permanent lung damage now, and it's going to affect his ability to speak. Now, we don't know what type of effect it's going to have on his role in AEW, but he's saying that they're treating him very, very well. He's not cutting. He did cut a promo in last week's Dynamite, and then it kind of went into Lance Archer having it. No, he did it in Full Gear, actually.
Yes.
So I was surprised they had a role in Full Gear. And it's interesting what role Jake will have moving forward at Lance Archer's side. Will this affect his ability to perform? Now, mind you, he's only in the ring, cutting these promos for short periods of time, but he noted like after 20 seconds or 30 seconds,
he has to stop talking.
Yeah, he has to stop talking, or it's going to affect his ability to speak there. So I'm hoping the best for Jake. Jake's been through a whole lot, put himself through a whole lot as well. But I'm hoping, especially with the clarity that he has now, the most recent years in his life, that he can find some way to work around this. Like a good old crafty wrestling veteran, he'll find a way to work around it, brother. Let's get in more questions here that you guys have here. People talking about the switcheroo that we're doing. That I'm going to watch NXT and you're going to watch AEW. Michael Covington said, "This must be done, John." Kev has to get his extra.
I like the comment from Sean, who says two things. One, I'm going to need booze to survive through that. Might be true. And two, will I go as long as Flair?
Michael Covington saying, I have to get my extra horniness in. Because if you don't know, I'm horny for WWE because I have a I don't have a WWE bias, but people want to say I do.
I do.
Okay. You do, but you say it. You put it out there. I don't mind that. Definitely a lot of questions and takes here. Thank you guys so much for joining the show. Appreciate it. We had some fun here, flying through it, a quick and easy.
And real quickly, I would address. I saw at least 3 comments from people asking if I'm any more familiar with Ken Shamrock than I was 2 weeks ago, and the answer.
Oh, that's
no,
right. That's right. Because on the show, this is one of those those age gap things. Right.
I have still never watched a Ken Shamrock.
Oh,
match.
Come on! You got to watch some Ken Shamrock before Wednesday. You got to watch some Ken Shamrock.
Some MMA Ken Shamrock.
A little bit of both. I think you watch you watch some Ken Shamrock in the cage, and we can watch some Ken Shamrock in WWE. Very underrated. I can't believe that.
We will be having a special Ken Shamrock episode in the future.
Yes, we will. Yeah, definitely here. Definitely continue to get your comments if you're watching or listening on demand. Get those in there. We'll still jump in there and talk to you guys during the show. It's all about engagement and fun. If you enjoy this and you like the back and forth, just help us out. Just hit the like button. That's all you have to do. It's free. This isn't a Patreon. We're giving you a Patreon's worth of content for free. So the most you can do that would help us is the least you can do by either sharing the show, tagging a friend in the comments, telling, hey, go listen to the show. Or liking it so we can defeat the algorithms. 15 likes. Come on, fellas. Come on, gals. Come on, guys. Let's bring it up. Let's kick this thing up a notch. All right. Things are looking good in some form of the world right now. I would be remiss if we didn't do this before we got off air tonight. I wanted to talk about this before we sign off, and this is obviously something that maybe many of you read about today. Is that Pfizer Pharmaceuticals and BioNTech, a scientific firm out of Germany, have confirmed in the earliest data from the final stages of phase 3 trials that they have a 90% efficiency on their COVID-19 vaccine. It'll be 2 doses. You get one, then several weeks later, you get a follow-up. Then 28 days after that, you would then have the immunity for a period of time. 90% efficiency is about 30 or 40% higher than what most people in the CDC were expecting. So this is already scientifically outperforming than what people were thinking. This will be the first vaccine that has been gotten near the finish line. And they're going to wait for 2 months of mandatory testing that they've already done. They're already near the end of it. So this vaccine could be rolling out before the end of 2020. Now, this is where I need to pump the brakes on wrestling fans because there were a lot of wrestling fans. If you look up COVID-19 vaccine WrestleMania, you can look it up and you'll see fans saying, I'm going to get the vaccine by this time, and then I'm going to be able to go to WrestleMania and all these different things. I love you guys. I want that to happen. John is pumping his fists. He thinks that's going to happen.
I'll be there in March. I will absolutely.
All right, so you're thinking that's going to happen?
No doubt about it.
So I do have to talk about this. It is worth talking about this COVID-19 vaccine. And here's the issue with it. I don't think we're going to get it in time for the big WrestleMania season. And if I'm wrong, I have no problem being wrong. Don't cover the camera.
Who cares if it's not here?
I know.
We're going to start chanting, let us in.
You're ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
I'm tired of it. It's going to be a year soon.
I know. I don't want to. It'll be almost a year that we've been dealing with it. Yeah, I think no, but
no, I meant since I've been into a show.
Oh, since you've been to a show. Okay, all right. So yeah, and there's plenty of people who are in the same camp as you.
Vaccine mania.
Vaccine mania, dude. Vaccine mania gonna be running wild, baby. And we're almost at the point where other vaccines from other big pharmaceutical companies are near the end as well. So the best case scenario is that there's multiple vaccines that come out at the same time, and you can start to get it. Now the problem is, the first 3 waves of rollouts are not going to be for regular people. It's going to be for the medical industry, then senior care,
then WWE superstars.
No, then we have to do firemen and ambulance workers and first responders, people working in factories. Then you have government officials. I think the White House is probably going to get this thing pretty quickly.
And then radio employees.
I'm hoping for that. But no, it's just. It's great news. I think it's great news that goes well beyond wrestling. It's just great news for humanity. It's great news through global economic issues and different things like that. But the thing I just want to remind people is don't get lax. Don't lose your discipline on this thing. All right. We're fighting this thing until the end. All right. We got the super weapon now. We got the finishing move. All right. And once we get this move done,
I know what you're thinking.
We're going to power bomb this. We're going to power bomb this thing. What am I thinking?
I'm not going to say it, but I know what you're
say
thinking.
Say it. Say what you think I'm thinking.
Say it.
No, come on. Say what do you think I'm thinking?
No,
it's okay.
Not getting political.
All right. Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. Now I wasn't getting into political stuff. I'm getting into does the time frame work where we can get this before the big wrestling shows? I mean, I hope so. I really, really do hope so. But I mean, if you listen to the experts, if you listen to the CDC, the rollout of this doesn't put it in the hands of a common person outside of those factors that I told you about, those early stages, doesn't really put them in your hands until the summer. And so you're looking at the summer 2021 at the earliest. All right. Now, Pfizer has said, and these are facts, guys. You can talk about misinformation, all these different things. They have 20 to 50 million vaccines that they could have ready by the end of 2020, with 1.3 billion rolling out in 2021. That'll be in stages. Okay. So this is still going to affect. It's going to affect international travel to WrestleMania. We're talking WrestleMania, okay? Is this going to be ready by WrestleMania? I'm on the side of saying no. You're on the side of saying yes. Sound off, John.
I'm not necessarily on the side of saying yes. I'm on the side of saying that there will be fans there regardless of if there's a vaccine accessible or not.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think we will have a WrestleMania with
and
fans.
Not just friends and family. People like me can buy tickets, and because I know before you've said that you think there'll be fans, but no tickets to the public. I think there will be tickets to the public.
No, mind you, that's a fluid situation. It's changing. After this news,
nobody knows.
We don't know for sure, but this is all the speculation we heard. It's going to be Raymond James Stadium for WrestleMania. And they're going to do maybe pods. They're going to do isolated things. They're going to do what some NFL teams have done. And you'll have, 10, 15,000 fans at this. And you'll spread them out. And maybe at some point we have some vaccine then, But the thing is, the vaccine isn't just going to come to your door. This isn't going to be like something we get like that fast, guys. And I think we have to be collectively patient with it.
You get it as you're going through the gates into the stadium.
But no, I mean, literally, people saying half capacity for WrestleMania, all these different things could happen. Yeah, so not even half. It'll be less than that. Kudos to New Japan Pro Wrestling, as Japan, as a country, has dealt with the virus much better than the United States has had. And they reported recently, since July, they've had 72,000 fans at their various events. So they're playing arenas with less than 1/4 capacity. They will have Wrestle Kingdom 2 nights, January 4th and 5th, 2021 at Tokyo Dome. And they will have around 20,000 fans each night in the 50,000 seat stadium, limited seating, spread out, different pods of different people. I think WWE should take a ton of notes from how Wrestle Kingdom is done. Literally, how that is done is how I think WrestleMania is going to be done. We're still going to be there, guys. I just say, just be disciplined, continue to be vigilant. If you feel like you need to get tested a lot, go get tested a lot. Do all the things you need to do and respect other people around you, because then you're respecting your family and friends, and then we can all get through this. That's the thing I think people are going to need to remember. I'm not political. We're in this together. We are literally in this together. If I get the vaccine first, I'm waiting for you to get it, John, because I want you at the table with me. You know what I mean? I want everyone there together, booing the bad guys and cheering the good guys. Let's get through it together, guys. We will be back tomorrow with more, looking at what's going on with Impact Wrestling. We have some exclusive content coming up with John Reinman, a writer for The Tonight Show, and a WWE writer, a former WWE Monday Night Raw writer. So we'll go into the writer's room with the WWE. That interview is coming up later this week. AAW Alive is this Thursday on Fight.tv. I will be there. This will be another big event, $13 on Fight.tv. Go get it, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. John, I'm very scared to be around wrestlers because they are a terrifying group. I'm not worried about COVID. I believe everyone's being safe. I'm wearing my face mask. But last week, Stephen Wolf said I had a cheap suit. I need a better suit if I'm going to be interviewing wrestlers at a show, right?
Yeah, I guess so. They know best.
Oh, man, I thought I had a nice mask. Someone told me, no, it's not a nice mask. You need a better mask. So I had to go and buy a better mask. It was ridiculous. So, all right. So definitely follow along, all the good stuff. You can follow him at John R. Clark 12. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
When are you on the news desk for WrestleZone so they know when they're reading your stuff?
Sunday morning.
I got you every Wednesday and Monday. Locked in, John Clark. Of course, you can check me out on 101 WKQX radio as well, the best alternative rock station in the nation. Put it in your presets on iHeartRadio, on TuneIn, all those different apps. If you're in the Chicago, Midwestern area, it's 101.1 FM. A lot of cool stuff. We're doing the Tag Your It contest on our morning show with Brian Allen and Justin. You can win $500. $500. All right? $500. Just pay for your flight right there if you get it at the right time for WrestleMania. You can fly out there. Definitely. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. Hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. We talk for 50 minutes about wrestling and everything going on in the world. Fun little escape from everything like that. I know people are kind of stressed out about all the different news and all these different things. We want our show to be fun for you. The cases are going up. Things are scary, but we want the show to be enjoyable. All right. And that is the main thing. When you're watching the show, when you're watching wrestling, John, tell them what they got to do.
Enjoy wrestling.
Damn.